Whispers are shaking the music industry tonight, and the spotlight is burning hotter than ever. Reports are claiming that Cardi B just held a private secret meeting. And the details that leaked out could flip the entire hip-hop game on its head. What was discussed in those closed doors? According to insiders, the meeting wasn't just about business deals, it was about strategy. A potential move aimed directly at none other than Kendrick Lamar. Yes, you heard that right. The queen of controversy. The chart-topping star who knows how to turn every headline into her advantage might be plotting her boldest play yet. But why Kendrick? And what could Cardi possibly gain from going against one of hip-hop's most respected voices? Tonight, we break down the leaks, the motives, and the dangerous game that's unfolding behind the scenes. #CARDIB. Hashtag Kendrick Lamar. Hashtag hip-hop drama. The story begins in the heart of New York City, where the rumor mill started spinning out of control after Cardi B was spotted entering a private lounge late at night. No red carpets, no paparazzi tip-offs. This was low-key, intentional, and calculated. Multiple insiders claimed she wasn't alone. The guest list. A mix of executives, influencers, and yes, even a few familiar faces in hip-hop circles who haven't always seen eye to eye with Kendrick Lamar. For years, Cardi has built her brand on more than just music. She thrives on visibility, power, and presence. From viral Instagram rants to sold-out tours, she's proven she can command attention like few others. But this meeting wasn't about entertainment. Leaks suggest it was about alignment. Specifically, lining herself with voices who feel threatened by Kendrick's relentless grip on credibility and culture. Why target Kendrick? On the surface, it may seem strange. Kendrick Lamar isn't the kind of artist who throws random shots at peers or spends energy on beef or clout. He's more selective, more intentional, weaving critiques of the industry into layered verses that fans and critics analyze for months. But that's exactly the problem. His presence in hip-hop isn't just as a rapper. It's as a truth teller for record labels, influencers, and artists who thrive on spectacle over substance. Kendrick's presence can feel like a threat. Every time he drops, the conversation shifts. Suddenly, social media isn't just about dance challenges or catchy hooks, it's about lyrics, meaning, and depth. And in an industry that makes billions off distraction, that's dangerous. This is where Cardi comes in. Cardi's power is the opposite of Kendrick's, where Kendrick thrives in silence, appearing rarely but with impact. Cardi thrives in noise-constant visibility, headlines, and the ability to dominate every platform at once. If you're an executive looking to redirect the conversation away from Kendrick's weighty influence, Cardi is the perfect counterbalance. What happened in that room? According to one source close to the situation, the meeting touched on three major topics: a media push, plans for Cardi to headline a new wave of interviews, campaigns, and viral moments designed to keep her name, not Kendrick's, at the center of the cultural conversation. Collaborative alliances, talks of Cardi linking with other high-profile artists who, while not openly against Kendrick, have felt overshadowed by his dominance. The goal: create a united front of mainstream stars who embody influence rather than introspection. The big drop? Speculation of a carefully timed project, possibly an album or explosive single that would launch just as Kendrick gears up for his next release. The idea would be to divide attention, ensuring that Cardi's firepower drowns out Kendrick's momentum. The industry chess game, if true. This isn't just a rivalry, it's chess. Think about it. Kendrick has built his empire by standing outside the mainstream machine. He doesn't flood TikTok, he doesn't chase algorithms, and he doesn't cater to trends. Yet, he still dominates. That frustrates certain players who rely on those very trends to keep the business alive. Cardi, on the other hand, is the machine's favorite weapon. She's relatable, entertaining, unpredictable, and viral. She can sell records, products, and headlines simultaneously. Pair that with her massive global fan base, and she becomes a cultural force no label can ignore. So, if you're an insider who wants to weaken Kendrick's cultural stronghold, what do? You don't attack him lyrically, you attack him culturally. You flood the space with energy so loud, so constant, that Kendrick's calculated silence feels irrelevant. Cardi's motivation, but here's the twist. Cardi might not even see this as an attack. For her, this could simply be about power. After years of dominance, she knows the competition is fierce. New artists are rising, the landscape is changing, and to stay on top, she has to keep moving. Aligning with powerful executives and plotting high-impact moves ensures she stays not just relevant, but untouchable. Still, the leak suggests that Kendrick's name was specifically mentioned in the meeting. Why? Because no matter how many artists drop hit singles, Kendrick's influence is unique. He doesn't just sell records, he shifts culture. And if Cardi wants to own the conversation in 2025, she has to deal with the one man whose words can cut through the noise. The first signs of the plan already. Fans are noticing shifts. Cardi has been unusually active online, teasing new projects, dropping cryptic posts, and engaging with fans in ways that feel strategic. Some believe this is the beginning of the media push discussed in that secret meeting. Meanwhile, Kendrick has remained silent, as always. No tweets, no posts, no comments. But fans know that silence is Kendrick's weapon. When he speaks, it matters. Which begs the question, how will he respond if Cardi makes her move? The stakes this isn't just about music. It's about legacy versus influence, art versus spectacle, depth versus distraction. Cardi is playing for the moment and Kendrick is playing for history. Both approaches work, but only one can dominate the cultural narrative at a time. And if this secret meeting truly went down the way insiders claim, then we may be heading toward the biggest collision hip-hop has seen in years. #CARDIVs Kendrick. #industry leaks. #hip-hop if Part 1 set the stage with whispers of a private gathering. Part 2 takes us deeper into the shadows of that so-called secret meeting. 'Cause according to multiple insiders, this wasn't just Cardi catching up with friends or business partners, this was a strategic session, carefully orchestrated to strengthen her position in hip-hop while challenging the quiet dominance of Kendrick Lamar, who was in the room. Leaks suggest that Cardi wasn't meeting with just one person. Eyewitnesses describe a small, exclusive gathering to label executives, one major digital marketing strategist, and a handful of artists who've been circling Cardi's orbit for years. Some of these names haven't been confirmed publicly, but the descriptions line up with figures who've previously clashed with Kendrick, whether through indirect shots, business rivalries, or a simple resentment of his credibility. One insider even claimed that an international streaming executive joined via a private call. If true, this suggests the meeting wasn't only about the US market, it was about global positioning. Cardi has always had worldwide influence, and if she's being advised to expand her reach in a way that overshadows Kendrick, this could turn into a global campaign, not just a local rivalry. The three-tier strategy asterisk. Sources reveal that the conversation revolved around what's being called a three-tier strategy: media domination. Cardi would flood the digital space with interviews, viral clips, and collaborations designed to keep her name trending at all times. The goal wasn't just visibility, but oversaturation, ensuring that by the time Kendrick dropped anything, the cultural noise around Cardi was already deafening. Strategic alliances, the second tier, focused on forming alliances. Cardi has always been a collaborator, but this plan emphasized aligning with artists who, while not direct rivals of Kendrick, have lived in his shadow. Imagine Cardi linking with voices from both trap and pop, creating a united mainstream presence that makes Kendrick's carefully measured drops look smaller by comparison. The shock drop. The third and most explosive tier was what insiders called a shock drop: a sudden release of music or a major announcement timed to collide with Kendrick's next move. If Kendrick is preparing a new project, Cardi's team might already know and could be planning to undercut his rollout with a cultural moment too big to ignore. Why Kendrick is the target, EO might ask? Why does any of this involve Kendrick at all? Cardi could easily dominate charts without aiming at him directly. But here's the key: Kendrick represents credibility. He is the benchmark of artistry in hip-hop. Every time he drops, critics, fans, and even casual listeners stop to listen. For Cardi to truly secure her spot as the undisputed cultural leader, she has to neutralize the one person whose influence isn't tied to algorithms or spectacle. It's not about beating Kendrick on Billboard. It's about controlling the narrative so that when people talk about the culture, Cardi's name comes before his. The industry's hidden hand, but here's where the story gets even darker. Some analysts argue that this isn't just Cardi making moves, it's the industry using Cardi as a weapon. Think about it. Labels and executives thrive on fast trends, quick profits, and viral moments. Kendrick is the opposite of that. He drops when he wants, creates music that demands time and thought, and refuses to be a puppet of the system. For the industry, that's inconvenient. Cardi, on the other hand, fits perfectly into the model. She's dynamic, marketable, and willing to play the game of constant engagement. Aligning with her to overshadow Kendrick ensures the machine keeps running smoothly, so when insiders talk about Cardi's secret meeting, they may not just mean Cardi plotting on her own. They mean Cardi being positioned by powerful forces who have everything to gain from keeping Kendrick's influence minimized. Cardi's personal stakes, of course. We can't ignore Cardi's personal motivations. While she's massively successful, the pressure on her has never been higher. Fans expect her to stay relevant, to deliver music that dominates TikTok and clubs, and to maintain her unique energy online. But with new stars rising every year, staying at the top isn't easy. By forming alliances and plotting bold moves, Cardi ensures she doesn't just stay relevant, she becomes unshakable. And if taking Kendrick down a notch is part of that process, so be it. Early signs in motion already. Signs of this strategy might be showing. Cardi has been unusually active, hinting at collaborations, teasing visuals, and engaging with fans more than usual. Meanwhile, bloggers and outlets tied to her camp have started dropping subtle stories comparing her influence to Kendrick's. Coincidence? Or the first stage of the media blitz insiders warned about? And here's where it gets interesting. Fans on social media have started picking sides without even realizing it. Some argue that Cardi represents the fun, raw energy of modern hip-hop, while Kendrick is too serious or distant. Others say Cardi's visibility is manufactured, while Kendrick's artistry will always stand taller. Either way, the conversation has already started shifting in. That may have been the point all along. What happens next? The million-dollar question is, what happens if Cardi actually follows through with this plan? Will fans see her as a bold leader who outmaneuvered one of hip-hop's most respected figures? Or will they see her as an industry pawn being used to silence a truth-teller? Because here's the risk. Cardi's strength lies in authenticity. People love her because she feels real. If the culture believes she's being pushed into a manufactured rivalry with Kendrick, it could backfire. Instead of elevating her, it could hurt her credibility at the same time. Kendrick is known for his silence until it matters. If Cardi makes a move and Kendrick responds with a project that cuts deep, the backlash could be severe. Remember, Kendrick's words aren't just Versailles, they're cultural weapons. Closing thoughts for Part 2 SO. Part 2 reveals the cracks forming behind the glamorous surface. A secret meeting. Executives whispering strategy. A plan that doesn't just involve music, but the manipulation of culture itself. Cardi stands at the center of it, willingly or not, as the industry's brightest star. Kendrick remains quiet, watching, waiting. And as these strategies begin to unfold, one thing is becoming clear. This isn't just beef. This is a battle for the soul of hip-hop. CARDIB hashtag Kendrick Lamar hashtag hip-hop industry. If Part 2 pulled back the curtain on Cardi B's three-tier strategy and the whispers of industry manipulation. Part 3 dives into the most explosive details of all the alleged leaks from inside that private room. Because according to insiders, what was said during that meeting wasn't just casual brainstorming. It was a blueprint for cultural warfare. The leaked agenda, the first leak suggests that the meeting wasn't spontaneous. A leaked agenda, allegedly shared among attendees, outlined for points of discussion. The narrative reset, this was reportedly about reshaping how Cardi is positioned in the culture, instead of being framed as a personality-driven artist. The plan was to present her as a movement leader, someone representing the energy of a generation. By shifting the narrative, they could place Cardi as the voice of the people, indirectly undercutting Kendrick's reputation as hip-hop's truth teller. Alliance activation. The second agenda point outlined potential collaborations. Some names mentioned were shocking. A few trap heavyweights, one mega pop star, and even whispers of an international Latin artist with crossover appeal. The purpose was clear: stack Cardi's alliances so wide that Kendrick's more isolated approach would look outdated. Digital saturation. This strategy involved creating non-stop visibility. Cardi would launch a wave of TikTok-friendly content, engage in viral challenges, and roll out memes, interviews, and calculated controversies. It wasn't about one song or one video, it was about dominating every platform. Simultaneously, counterplay preparedness. This was the most chilling. The document allegedly outlined responses to Kendrick himself. If Kendrick dropped a project, Cardi's camp would flood the digital space with alternative headlines, collabs, or viral stories, ensuring that Kendrick's release wouldn't dominate the conversation. Cardi's new alliances leaks suggest that several names floated during the meeting are artists who respect Kendrick but also feel overshadowed by him. One example is mainstream rappers who consistently chart but never get hailed as voices of the generation. By aligning with Cardi, they wouldn't need to diss Kendrick directly. They would simply participate in a wave that centers Cardi as the cultural figurehead. Insiders even claim that one major artist who's been quiet lately is preparing a collaboration with Cardi timed for maximum disruption, if true. This would mark a dangerous shift in alliances. Cardi wouldn't just be one artist moving against Kendrick, she'd become the face of a coalition. Why the leaks matter? The fact that leaks even exist suggests tension inside Cardi's own circle. Someone who was in or near that meeting clearly felt the need to talk, which could mean two things. Either they disagreed with the plan, or they wanted to stir the pot by letting the public in on it. Either way, the leaks put Cardi in a tricky position. On one hand, her team might argue these are exaggerated rumors. On the other, the very idea of plotting against Kendrick makes the story irresistible to fans and bloggers. Whether true or not, the perception itself can influence the culture. Kendrick's silence, a hidden weapon while all this unfolds. Kendrick Lamar has remained silent. No cryptic tweets, no interviews, no subliminal bars, just silence. But here's the thing. Kendrick's silence isn't emptiness. It's a loaded pause. Every time Kendrick steps away, fans build anticipation. Every time he doesn't respond, it only sharpens the blade for when he finally does. Cardi's camp may believe silence equals weakness, but Kendrick's history proves the opposite. Remember Control? Remember The Heart Part 5? Kendrick doesn't need to respond immediately. He responds surgically, when it counts most. And that's what makes the leaks dangerous for Cardi. If Kendrick has caught wind of this secret meeting, he could already be preparing the most devastating countermove, not with noise, but with art. Fans react to the rumors online. Fans are already buzzing. Twitter threads and Reddit posts are dissecting the leaks, debating whether Cardi's moves are authentic or industry orchestrated. Some fans argue Cardi is just playing the game. If Kendrick is too quiet, that's on him. Nah, this feels fake. Kendrick's on another level. You can't end him with clout. If Cardi aligns with the industry to block Kendrick, she's exposing herself as a pawn. These debates are more than chatter, they shape perception. And in hip-hop, perception often becomes reality. The industry's endgame zooming out, it's worth asking. What's the industry's real endgame here? If the leaks are accurate, The goal isn't to destroy Kendrick entirely, it's to neutralize him, to minimize his impact so the machine can keep moving without disruption. Kendrick forces fans to think. He exposes contradictions in the system. That's good for the culture, but inconvenient for corporations. Cardi, meanwhile, is profitable, relatable, and endlessly marketable. From a business perspective, backing Cardi as the cultural centerpiece makes perfect sense. But culture isn't just business. Fans decide what lasts. And fans have proven time and again that while trends fade, truth endures. Possible scenarios ahead based on these leaks. We can imagine several scenarios. Cardi launches the campaign. She executes the strategy perfectly: media dominance, K alliances, and a shock drop. The culture temporarily shifts her way. And Kendrick seems sidelined. Kendrick breaks the silence just when Cardi's wave peaks. Kendrick drops a project that dismantles the narrative. His art becomes the conversation. And Cardi's efforts look like background noise. The leaks backfire. Fans interpret the strategy as manufactured, hurting Cardi's authenticity. Instead of seeing her as powerful, they see her as controlled. Collaboration instead of conflict. A wild card: what if the leaks were planted to hype tension, only for Cardi and Kendrick to surprise everyone with a collaboration? That would flip the game entirely. Closing thoughts for Part 3. Part 3 makes one thing undeniable. Whether these leaks are 100% real or exaggerated, they've already added fuel to the fire. Cardi's moves are under a microscope. Kendrick's silence is louder than ever. And fans are more divided than they've been in years. If the secret meeting was meant to stay hidden, it has failed. The culture is watching, dissecting, and waiting. And as Cardi positions herself for dominance, Kendrick stands as the immovable object in her path. The question now isn't just what will Cardi do? It's how will Kendrick respond when the time comes? Hashtag Cardibic. Sposed hashtag Kendrick V's, CARDI hashtag hip hop leaks. We single quotes V, broken down the meeting, the agenda, and the shocking leaks. Now in Part 4, we step back and examine the bigger picture, the stakes, the risks, and the possible outcomes. Because this isn't just about Cardi B versus Kendrick Lamar, this is about the very future of hip-hop culture. And how the industry machine operates behind the curtain. A clash beyond music queen. We talk about Cardi B and Kendrick Lamar. We're not just comparing to artists. We're comparing two models of success. Cardi B, a modern superstar built on charisma, relatability, and constant visibility. Her strength lies in her personality as much as her music. Cardi thrives on memes, social media, collaborations, and spectacle. She is everywhere, all the time. Kendrick Lamar, the opposite approach. Kendrick disappears for long stretches, returning only when he has something meaningful to say. His focus isn't saturation, it's precision. Every album is treated like a cultural event. His strength is artistry, storytelling, and lyrical mastery. The industry knows Cardi represents a formula they can replicate. Non-stop content equals non-stop revenue. But Kendrick represents unpredictability, depth, and resistance to control. That's why this clash feels bigger than a feud. It feels like two philosophies colliding. Cardi's high-risk gamble. The leaks are true. Cardi's strategy is bold but dangerous. Let's break down why. Public perception can shift overnight. Cardi has always been loved for being real. Fans see her as authentic, funny, and unfiltered. But if fans start to believe she's part of an orchestrated plan to silence Kendrick, that perception could flip. The same authenticity that made her famous could become her downfall. Overexposure, digital saturation works until it doesn't. Fans can quickly tire of seeing the same face everywhere. If the campaign feels forced, Cardi risks exhausting her audience. Kendrick's counterpunch. History proves one Kendrick verse can dismantle entire careers. Cardi's camp may underestimate how devastating his pen can be. If he decides to respond directly through a diss, a concept track, or a subtle lyrical jab, her entire strategy could unravel overnight. Kendrick's silent strength on the flip side. Kendrick carries his own risks. Silence as a weakness, while silence can be powerful. Too much of it can also be misinterpreted as fear or irrelevance. If Cardi dominates the conversation for too long, some fans might start to wonder if Kendrick has faded out of the culture. The pressure of expectations whenever Kendrick drops. Expectations are sky high. If his next release isn't a masterpiece, critics could spin it as proof that he's slipping. Cardi's team could capitalize on that moment of vulnerability. The industry against him, let's not sugarcoat it. Insiders really are backing Cardi's rise as a counterbalance to Kendrick. Then Kendrick could find doors closing. Media outlets, playlists, and award shows might quietly shift away from him, making it harder for his work to reach casual listeners. The role of fans: at the end of the day, fans are the true power brokers. No strategy, no meeting, no corporate plan can survive if the audience rejects it. And hip-hop fans, more than any other audience, can smell inauthenticity from a mile away. If fans believe Cardi's rise is natural, they'll support it. But if they suspect it's a manufactured attempt to suppress Kendrick, they could turn on her in an instant. Hashtags, trending topics, and viral moments can flip the script faster than any boardroom meeting. This is why social media reactions matter so much. Every leak, every rumor, every fan-made meme shapes the battlefield. The cultural stakes: this battle isn't just about who tops the charts. It's about who defines the culture. If Cardi wins, it signals a shift towards spectacle-driven dominance. Viral clips, collaborations, and non-stop visibility would be the new gold standard. Substance would matter less than saturation. If Kendrick wins, it reaffirms the power of artistry and authenticity. It proves that depth can outlast hype, and that silence can be louder than noise. Neither outcome will destroy hip-hop, but the balance of influence could tilt dramatically. Possible endgames: let's imagine how this could all play out. The Cardi surge: Cardi executes the plan perfectly. With industry backing, she drops hit after hit, dominates social media, and secures major collaborations. For a time, she looks unstoppable. Kendrick remains silent, and some fans begin to question his relevance. The Kendrick response just when Cardi's campaign peaks. Kendrick drops a project so powerful it resets the conversation. His storytelling cuts through the noise, and suddenly, the entire industry is forced to acknowledge his dominance once again. A split culture instead of one side winning. The culture fractures. Cardi and Kendrick both hold strong, but their fan bases grow more divided. This polarization could fuel years of debate, keeping both artists at the center of conversation. The unexpected twist: what if the leaks were a smokescreen? What if this entire beef is a misdirection leading to a surprise collaboration? Imagine a joint project: Cardi bringing the energy, Kendrick bringing the depth. The culture would explode. Industry whisperers behind all this drama are the unnamed insiders pulling strings. They benefit from the chaos. Every debate, every rumor, every viral hashtag drives engagement, and engagement equals money. But here's the twist: insiders may not fully control what happens next, because no matter how powerful the industry machine is, it can't fully control the one thing that decides everything: the people. Final analysis. So where does this leave us? Cardi B's alleged secret meeting has opened Pandora's box. The leaks suggest a carefully plotted campaign designed to elevate her and undermine Kendrick. The stakes are high, the risks are real, and the entire hip-hop world is on edge. Cardi stands at a crossroads. She can become the unstoppable force of this generation, or risk being seen as a pawn in a larger game. Kendrick, meanwhile, holds the quiet but deadly weapon of timing. His silence may frustrate fans, but when he finally speaks, history says it will matter more than 1,000 viral posts. And us, the fans, the viewers, the listeners, we're not just spectators. We're the jury. Every stream, every share, every tweet tilts the balance. One thing is certain: whether you ride with hashtag Team CARDI or hashtag Team Kendrick, The next chapter in this saga will define hip-hop for years to come. Cardi B exposed. Hashtag Kendrick v. Cardi. Hashtag hip-hop culture. And there you have it, the alleged secret meeting. The leaked strategies and the cultural chessboard that could change hip-hop forever. But now, it's your turn to weigh in. Do you believe these leaks are real? Or is this just another industry ploy to stir the pot and keep fans divided? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's get this debate started. If you're rocking with hashtag Team Cardi, let us know why you think she has what it takes to dominate the game. And if you're riding with hashtag Team Kendrick, tell us why you believe silence will be his deadliest weapon yet. Make sure to hit that like button, smash, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next twist in this unfolding saga. Trust me, the story isn't over, and the next move could shock the entire culture. #CARDIBXPOSED, hashtag Kendrick Lamar.